Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Show Me the Shift podcast with me, Coach Nora, certified life coach, HR certified professional, international bestselling author, and the creator of the Victorious Movement community. So thank you so much for joining into the podcast this morning. As you all know, I have recently changed this podcast from being a daily podcast to more of a 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we will be having the podcast going forward. And so I am really excited to get that new process underway. And we're focusing on Monday's affiliate marketing. Wednesdays, we're focusing on your career. And then on Fridays, we're focusing on purpose. So that is going to be the flow. So affiliate marketing, because that's something that's near and dear to me. And I may even broaden it to just say like digital, just doing things online, because there's just so much to know and learn about doing things online. So online things, affiliate things, moving on to career, because I have over 25 years of HR experience, so helping people with their career. And then, of course, with pursuing purpose, because that, of course, is near and dear to me. I am putting processes in place and doing things so that I'm pursuing my purpose. And so I want to be able to help others to do the same. And so, on that note, today being the career day, we're going to focus on job descriptions. I was so unaware that so many people had no clue on when they read a job description, how to really tell, am I qualified? Am I not qualified? Like, what can I figure out from these words that are on a page? And a lot of times job descriptions are so long that people don't read the whole thing. So they kind of pick and choose which words they look at, and then they make a decision on, okay, I'm going to go ahead and apply. And so what I wanted to do was just kind of break things down a little bit, share some information about it, so that way you won't feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall. You might actually feel like, okay, I'm going through and I'm being very selective on the positions I apply to, because you don't want to be, as I've mentioned before, that person that the recruiter sees that resume and they're like, oh, this person applies to everything we post. You want to be that person that when they see it, they know you were strategic in what you applied to and that you're actually a qualified person for that role. And so based on that, what I wanted to share really was that the job description is probably broken down on most cases into about 5 different areas. And so I wanted to take a moment to just talk through what those areas are so that you can get a better understanding of that, and then get into a little bit more detail so that way you can ensure that you are, again, putting your best foot forward and kind of decoding some of the things that you might just not be completely aware of when it comes to the job description. So on that note, we're excuse me, we're going to start with the title. So the title of the job description, that's probably the simplest part, right? So it is really telling you the title of the role and what it is that they're looking to hire for. Now, when it comes to that, different titles are going to be different with different companies. So although you might have a title of you being a data analyst, another company might call it something completely different, a coordinator, a project manager, a lead, something to that effect. And you might look at that title and say, I might not be qualified because that title doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't sound like a title that I'm very familiar with. However, what you need to do also is read the summary and information in the job description, because that will give you more insights on, oh, actually, this is what I do. They just call it a different title. So try not to get so caught up in the title that you miss an opportunity. Various companies are going to call things various, like even for an engineer, for example, someone could call an engineer, someone else could call the engineer an engineer, like coordinator, an engineer one, an engineer associate, an engineer, like they could call it so many different things. And you might think, okay, but is this the engineer that I'm qualified to apply to, or is this some other level engineer? Does their engineer mean that you have to have an engineering degree? Or is their engineer a position in which you could have an engineering technology degree or some kind of certification and therefore qualify as an engineer? So the job description is really going to break all those things down and help you to understand a little bit more about what the title is, but also what some of those requirements are that are going to make it where you should know and have a better understanding of the fact that, yes, I am truly qualified for this role. So, title, it's beyond the label itself. You have to look beyond that. You have to figure out what does the description say along with that to help you to understand if it's really something that you're qualified for. Okay. So that's first and foremost the title. Then the job summary is something that's very important as well. So that typically gives you just a summary of the company, a summary of the department. It gives you just some insights about what that area of business is responsible for, what their priorities are, and sometimes even goes into the culture of the company. They could give information in there to say, we are a Fortune 500 company that focuses on this, 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 and this. And so that gives you insights as well for if you're selected for an interview of what's important for that company, so that that way you can go in with an understanding of that, but also ready to talk about that. That might be something that you want to bring in as some of the questions that you ask when you're interviewed, right? Oh, I remember in the job posting that you mentioned that y'all were really passionate about this, this, and this. Can you give me more information on that? Can you tell me if I'm hired, how I can be a part of that? So those are some things that can help you, again, to not only have a better understanding of the company and what's important to the company, but some insights into you, as I've mentioned before, not just saying, oh, no, I don't have any questions at the end of the interview. If you print out the job description and have that on hand, if you're selected for an interview, that will help you to know what things you can probe into with them once you're in the interview and it's your turn to ask questions. So just another kind of tidbit and thing to think about. But it gives you information on the culture. Sometimes it definitely gives you information on the department, their priorities, what's important to them, and what they are looking for in regards to the person who's going to come into this role and be successful. So the summary hits that very high level, but gives you some of those details. And I would say the more you pay attention to that, the more it'll help you to know, okay, how do I prepare? And oh, by the way, well, prepare for an interview, but also, oh, by the way, is this a company I want to work for? Are their values in alignment with what I'm looking for? Because when it comes to searching for jobs, it's not all about the company wanting you. You kind of have to think of it like a relationship, right? It's that the company might want me, but I have to also want the company in order for this to be a successful partnership. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. Then we have responsibility. So often this is kind of what are the core responsibilities of the role. They're usually going to use a lot of action verbs to explain what this person is going to be doing, right? They're going to say, these are the skill sets we're looking for. They're going to be responsible for, writing this, lecturing on that, presenting on this, analyzing that, collecting data for this. So it's going to be a lot of words that are going to let you know, okay, this is what they're expecting the day-to-day responsibilities to be for me in this role. And the more in alignment I am with that, then the more likelihood that I'll get the opportunity to interview for this for this particular position, because of the fact that number one, when you read it, if it doesn't resonate with you, if you're reading these words, if you're reading these action words and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of work, or oh my goodness, I don't know if I'd want to do all of that, day to day, then I would say don't apply. Like those words should be the words that make you excited for the opportunity, that make you say, oh my gosh, I would love to do this every single day. This is the kind of stuff I live for. And when you see those action words and you're focused on it that way, then that really helps you out to know, okay, yes, this is a position I absolutely should apply for. And it's not to say every aspect in that area is going to be something that you're jumping up and down excited about doing. But I would say if 80% of it is like, "Ooh, this is the stuff that I live for, and the other part I can learn, the other part I can get a better understanding of with training," then I would say apply. But those are really those key skill sets that they want to make sure that you know coming in the doors as well, so that that way they can help you to kind of be the best and most successful person that you can be. And I just feel like a lot of people might glance over the responsibilities and say, yeah, 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 I can do it. Just give me the job and I can do any and everything that you're going to put in front of me for me to do. A lot of people are very, I don't know how you describe it, but eager that way. And I would say, no, pay close attention, because the last thing you want to do is to get into a job opportunity, right? Into a position. And then you realize that you just don't like it, that you can't stand it, that, oh, this is too much work. Oh, I didn't realize it was this. And when you think back and look back at the job description, you probably realize, no, they were probably pretty clear in regards to this being a part of the role and a part of the job. So just keep that in mind as well, that you really need to focus on what they say the responsibilities are, so that that way you're in alignment. Again, it's a partnership. You're in alignment with what it is that they're looking for, and also they are presenting something that you really want to do and work. So next is qualifications. So when it comes to qualifications, there are usually the things that are the non-negotiables for the company. These are the things that the company is like, look, you need to have this bare bone skill coming in the door day one, or else, I'm sorry, you're probably not going to be a fit for this role. So in some instances, it is often a number of years of experience. So you have to ensure that you have those years of experience. What are those non-negotiables that are absolutely day one? So if they're saying you need to have 5 years of experience in order to do this particular position, the likelihood that they're looking for somebody with 3 or 4 and willing to pay the salary that they're expected to pay for 5 years is going to be slim, right? They're going to want to make sure that the person who comes in can hit the ground running at the level that they have posted the role. So if they post it and say 0 years of experience, like we're okay with someone coming right out of college and they don't have any experience, then great. That's where they're also going to be compensating that person, right? They're going to compensate them based on the fact that they don't have any experience. And as they promote up, they'll get more and more in regards to their compensation. If you come in and you have 5, 7, 10 years of experience and you're applying to a job that says you don't even need experience, then you already know you're kind of cutting yourself short. Yes, you might be a viable candidate and they still might bring you in for an interview, but they may lowball the offer because of the fact that they're not looking for someone with your caliber of experience. But would they be willing to hire someone with your caliber experience and then maybe give you a lower level title or lower level comp? Of course. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to get, all of this great, great package, and oh, by the way, not have to pay that much for it? And is it fair? No. But in their mind, they're probably seeing it as, but you applied to it. Like, you saw that we didn't say that we were going to hire with a higher level of experience. We were hiring somebody entry level. If you applied to it, it's all fair game, right? So therefore, I would say make sure that you are valuing your worth. Make sure that you are applying to opportunities and not just, oh, it's something at this company. I want to work for this company. Let me go ahead and apply. And if you do that, that's fine. Just know that in the process of doing that, that you may be selling yourself a little short. So instead, maybe holding off for the opportunities that are in alignment with the value that you're bringing and the worth that you can bring to that company. Instead of the entry level position, maybe holding off until you find something that's at least 3 years of experience, or where you are 5 years of experience, and then applying to those roles. Or finding out from someone who works in the company, do they even post roles at those higher levels? Because if they don't, then you might have to take a step back in order to get in to then grow to that level. But if they do offer that, then how frequently do they hire for it? And is it something that you're willing to wait for, or take that, potential cut in title and comp in order to get into that level a little bit later because your desire to work for that company is that strong. So you have to determine that for yourself and figure out what's going to work best for you. But I would say to definitely know that when the company puts specific years of experience there, it is because of the fact that they know that we kind of need somebody hitting the ground running. So the opposite is also true. If they say they need 7 years of experience and you only have 3 or 4, then the likelihood that they'll hire you is going to be slimmer because of the fact that no, they need someone who can hit the ground running with that 7 years of work experience. They don't probably have the time to train. They're going to make sure that the compensation is in alignment for that. And them wanting to pay someone who they will have to train and is getting overcompensated for the knowledge they're bringing to the table, again, is probably going to be slim. So therefore, just making sure that you're paying attention to what they're saying their qualifications are, because often that's a non-negotiable. Okay. And then lastly, soft skills. So those are going to be the things that they say, like great communicator, great written and oral skills, team player, those types of words that they use to help you to understand that, again, sometimes it's about their culture and then wanting you to make sure that you have certain skill set because you'll fit into the culture better that way. And then sometimes it's just about, no, this position is a training position. So we need to make sure that the person has the right soft skills to be able to train, to be able to communicate well, to write well, to be able to present, those types of things. So when they say those words, it's to ensure that you are in alignment with the way that you'll have to present yourself when you're in that role. So those are kind of the top 5, as I mentioned, kind of breakdowns of how to understand a job description. And this doesn't also include some of the things that sometimes show up under qualifications, but sometimes they don't, which are like, do you have certifications? And if they're requesting that, you might want to read, okay, in some part of the job description, it'll say, these are the certifications that we're looking for. This is the license that we're looking for you to already have before you come into the corporation, or that we're willing to help you to get. It could be things like CDL, for example. And is it a C, like what kind of level of that they're looking for, so that way you're, again, either coming in with that skill or they'll help you to get that skill. So there's a lot of moving parts that I can't really say are going to 100% be on every job description, because they often won't, but there'll be some things that they may list like that you'll want to also make sure you're paying attention to, because if they say, oh, the person must have this particular license, like an HR person must have their SHRM certification through the Society of HR Management. Well, and if you don't have that, then the must have tells you that if that's not on your resume, it's probably no need to apply. You're not going to get to the, hiring leader to be able to get an interview. And then if they don't have some of those things, or they say words like highly preferred, then that lets you know that it's preferred or highly preferred, but it's not a requirement of the job that you come in day one. So therefore, yeah, go ahead, throw your name in the hat and see if that's an opportunity for you. So that's really all I wanted to share today, was just some bare basic information regarding job descriptions, how to understand those better. We're going to talk more than likely next time about the resume process. How do you go about going in, making sure that your resume is fine-tuned for the various opportunities that are out there. I think we'll focus on that next time. We'll see what spirit hits me in regards to what we'll talk about for the next Show Me the Shift podcast. Just to let you know, we will be having our entrepreneurial version of the podcast, where I'll be interviewing entrepreneurs. The first interview will happen sometime the week of the probably 18th, 22nd, somewhere around there. So we'll probably live stream that and then go through and post that on all the different posting platforms of your Spotify's and your Apple Music and all of that. So I'm really excited to get that going as well, where I'll be talking to entrepreneurs who are very like bold. They have taken that step to go from employee to entrepreneur and what that journey was like for them. As many of you know, I've done that recently. And so I really want to talk to other people who have taken that leap and get more information and insights and share that with you all, because there's some of you who deep down inside are probably wanting to make that same leap. And so I think that this will be great to shift your perspective of what it would be like and how scary it can be to think about it, but also how fulfilling and rewarding it would be once you do it. So that's something that we'll be talking about soon as well, but more to come there. But yes, keep in mind again that I do have my Victorious Movement community, and that is a amazing place where just different thought leaders and people who are having aspirations and goals get together. We focus on meditation. We focus on various topics. We have everything regarding mindset, everything in regards to putting your goals into action. What is your purpose? Just focusing on how do we have an attitude of gratitude, some accountability, and really make sure that we are utilizing our whole selves and bringing everything to the table. As they say, one of the most expensive places in the world is a graveyard, because people die with their treasure still in them. So we want to make sure that people are really utilizing their treasure and putting everything into place while they are here. And all within the Victorious Movement, things are just growing and growing in the modules as well. So I may have to update this graphic because there's a lot more. We have some Chat GPT things in there. We have meditations in there now. So just a lot of things that are growing, all for $27 a month. So on that note, I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your day. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.